You're tuned in to the Daily BS.
Do you believe it?
Sports and culture combined into one.
Michael on the drive across the lane. Turnaround shot. Got it. 63 for Jordan.
Are you kidding me? He did what?
The Daily BS begins
Bazinga!
right now.
Great googly moogly.
Hadouken!
Hey, this promises to be fun.
Can't wait.
I want to talk about a post that I saw over the course of the weekend that frankly got on my nerve. Now, I'm going to lay two disclaimers out there. One, I'm doing this mostly for fun, so I can get on some people's nerves and make them laugh at the same time. And two, these are my opinions. Therefore, it makes them the right ones. No, I'm just kidding. But let me get into this. I saw a post that said, a poll that said and asked, to be more precise, who do you think is going to be the most valuable player in the NBA this year? Is it going to be Giannis or is it going to be LeBron? I looked at that post again several times. Giannis or LeBron? I said, wait a minute. Wait. Let me take a look at that again. Giannis or LeBron? I kept hitting refresh, hoping that LeBron would escape and somebody else would be in his place. But I kept seeing LeBron, and then all of a sudden, my day came to a halt. What? LeBron in conversation for most valuable player?
Ain't nobody got time for that.
And on top of that, I add this.
That is blasphemous. That is blasphemous. How dare you? How dare you say such a thing?
And I'm going to have that said to me because of what I'm about to say right now. LeBron does no longer deserves to be in any kind of MVP conversation. Allow me to explain. You know who's carrying the Los Angeles Lakers right now? It ain't LeBron, it's Anthony Davis. And unfortunately, the Lakers ain't going to go far in the playoffs because of a lack of a point guard. Hey, LeBron, why don't you put your general manager notes together and figure out, hey, I need a point guard. I need some shooting. I need some shooters around me. Haven't figured that out yet, have you? Nope. Are you going to figure it out? He might. But then a part of me loves to ask,
Are you kidding me?
and then a part of me thinks, I can't just say LeBron doesn't deserve to be in MVP conversation because of what he's doing at age 35 is absolutely incredible. I'll give you that. Riddle me this, however. Is he? No, I better not ask that question. Anthony Davis is carrying the Lakers right now, not LeBron. LeBron's only getting the shine because he's LeBron, and that's wrong in and of itself. I know I'm going to get a lot of reasons and a lot of pushback for saying this, but I'm going to go ahead and say it, and it needs to be said. Why are y'all hyping a player for most valuable player who's not even carrying his team? Riddle me that. Why are you hyping a player for most valuable player just because he is who he is? Okay? I understand he's played 17 seasons. I understand he's had a lot of impact on a lot of players. I get that. I totally understand that. He has had an impact, good or bad. He has had an impact on a lot of players, okay? But why can't LeBron James make a free throw when it counts? Why does LeBron James get away with traveling? As evidence in a little video I saw against Utah. And I know these are very petty things, but you know what? I know what I was spoiled with when it came to the NBA. And sorry, LeBron ain't it. Kawhi maybe. Giannis Antetokounmpo maybe. Unfortunately, the players that should be voted for MVP won't have a chance to compete for him because they are, I don't know, they're kind of injured right now. That would be Kevin Durant, that would be Klay Thompson, and that would be Stephen Curry. I know LeBron is playing right now, and he is, listen to me carefully, he is playing his best basketball in 17 years. This is coming from a very staunch non-LeBron fan. Is he a fantastic athlete? Yes, he is. But I will hold true to the statement that I have said for the 17 years that he has been active. He's a fabulous athlete. He is at the top of his peak performance as an athlete. He's just not there as a basketball player. I'm sorry. I don't want to hear about what he's doing scoring wise. I don't want to hear about his rebounds. I don't want to hear about how he has changed the culture of the Lakers. No, he hasn't. You know who did? You know who has changed the culture of the Lakers? Anthony Davis. His arrival gave LeBron a little bit of breathing room, but LeBron doesn't know how to use it. So he's trying to muscle in on Anthony Davis's shine when it should be all about Anthony Davis being in contention for most valuable player. And even that is a little shaky at best. Because this Laker team is one injury away, a very significant injury, be it to LeBron, be it to AD, or one of their supporting cast, if you want to call them a supporting cast. One injury away from being also-rans. How do you like those apples? One significant injury away from being near the middle part of the conference fighting for an 8 seed instead of a 1 seed. In the game against Denver, before we went to the All-Star break, LeBron didn't help them win that game. Anthony Davis did. You know, it's like Cole Johnson and I described and talked about off the air. He has a chance to win the game. Why is your shot selection so poor at year 17? You're supposed to get that out of your system by year 3 or 4. You're supposed to be the king, and he's not. I'm sorry. I have never bought into LeBron James being the end-all, be-all when it comes to basketball. I never have, and I never will. I will never say he's not a fantastic athlete. Let me repeat myself. I will never in life say he's not a fantastic athlete. LeBron has not changed the game in his tenure in the NBA. In some ways, Anthony Davis has. In some ways, Kawhi Leonard has. In many ways, Stephen Curry has. LeBron has not changed the game. He has not changed the culture of the NBA. He's a fantastic philanthropist off the court. I'll give you that. I'll give you that. But answer me this question, will you please? What in God's name has he done in 17 years that made you keep your attention on him? A certain 4-letter network found a way to keep the attention on him, and that's just to keep giving him attention. That's to keep talking about him. I haven't talked about him on this program in a while, except when Cole Johnson shows up and a few of my other guests shows up, and we just have fun with it. But I gotta tell you, I am not impressed with LeBron James in year 17, just as I was not impressed with LeBron James in year 1. To a certain Bronsexual who said LeBron is greater than Kobe, and he was greater than MJ, stop it. Just plain stop it. Why? Because he has more points than MJ? Okay, LeBron's played 17 years, MJ played 15. Because he has more free throws than MJ? Okay, once again, LeBron's played 17 years, MJ played 15. But let me bring it back to this point. You will not convince me of LeBron James's supposed greatness until LeBron does something MJ did twice. How about 3 consecutive titles? How about the fact that LeBron relaxes on defense, and he's always relaxed on defense from year 1 to year 17? How about the fact that LeBron does not motivate his team? Well, I can't say he motivates his team all the time. He does when he wants to motivate himself. But here is what turned me off about LBJ and what will continue to turn me off about LBJ. I instead of we. When he won his first title, you heard him talking about a kid from Akron, Ohio, who went on to do this, this, and this. I remember one statement about the legendary Michael Jordan, where he said, and I quote, we are entitled to defend what we have until we lose it. Let me repeat that, especially for a few bronze-sexual fans I know, because now I'm getting heated. We are entitled to defend what we have until we lose it. And let me speak to a certain bronze-sexual fan that's in Florida who loves telling me, MJ didn't win anything without Scottie. You would be correct, because you want to put the right teammates around your star player, which is what the Chicago Bulls did, which is what the Los Angeles Lakers did, which is what the Boston Celtics did, which is what the San Antonio Spurs did, which is what the Golden State Warriors did, which is what the Miami Heat did not. Oops. To all these bronze-sexual fans who love celebrating partial greatness, just remember, all the other athletes that I've talked about on this show during its 6.5-year run kept one thing in common. They said we instead of I. Now, take that. That's Snowman's take. What's yours? I got more stuff for you in a flash. All right. I talked about this earlier in the show, and I got a little pushback from it, which tells me I'm saying a lot of correct things. Now I'm going to get some reinforcements. Cole Johnson has now joined the program. How are you, my friend?
I am doing wonderful. How about yourself?
I'm doing great. And I'm really doing great because you remember that conversation with that bronze sexual you pointed out in your program last Friday? Yeah. Mm-hmm. He ain't shutting up.
Oh, how uninformed. I mean, how wonderful.
He ain't shutting up. Matter of fact, folks, y'all know I love presenting facts to go along with my opinion. And, okay, he said this message. I'm going to read a couple of messages that he communicated to me, if you want to call it communication. And then I'm going to have you respond to him with an email. One of the messages reads as follows, quote, I give credit where it's due. Real credit. LBJ greater than Kobe, greater than MJ. Close quote. He also said something to the tune of, where is it? Okay. He also says, quote, I just believe in facts and not opinions. Close quote. And I'll give you one more before I decide to throw my hands up, laughing my head off, yelling incoming when I know this email is coming. He also said, and you'll love this, quote, LeBron's the better all-around basketball player. Facts. Close quote. The floor and the keyboard is yours.
That last one is really intriguing. Okay. Oh my goodness. I did not want to break this out, but I'm going to have to. mighty fast.
I can't wait. I can't wait.
Email Bronsexuals. CC all other idiot fans. Subject of email. You got to be out your doggone mind. Body of email. Let me get this straight. LeBron is better than Kobe, is better than MJ. So you're telling me that a clone of the original article is better than the original article. I did catch that too. But you're saying that the clone and the original article are not quite as good as King James. Okay, all right. If we're talking about press, maybe. If we're talking about how he's being talking about LeBron, we're talking about him being as publicized off the court as he is on the court. Although Jordan could rival that, I probably would give it to LeBron. But if we're talking about facts, here's one fact for you. There was one player that won Defensive Player of the Year and another who didn't. Can you, Bronsexual, guess which one won and which one didn't? I'll give you a clue. Your boy didn't win Defensive Player of the Year. Hasn't yet. And now in the twilight of his career, he won't ever win it. Yeah. Strike number one. There is two players who has more rings than the other. The one that you say is better than the both of them. Can you, Bronsexual, guess which one has less rings than the other two? It certainly is not Kobe, and it surely is not MJ. And even if your boy wins this year, he still will be less than Kobe and Jordan in ring count. Strike number two. Strike number three. The two players you say that LeBron James is better than, they have been to a combined 13 finals. You want to know how many finals they have lost combined? 2. That would be 1/3 the count of your boy, who has lost 6. So how can two guys who are a combined 11 of 13 in the biggest series of the year in their careers be worse than a guy who is 3 up and 6 down? Perspective, son. Perspective. You can't be serious. You can't compare just in those stats alone. And I might add, those, my friend, are facts. Now, taking the stats off the table, how can you compare one guy who is more Magic Johnson than he is any of the other two that people endlessly compare, just like you, Mr. Bronsexual, have compared? Because there is no Kobe in LeBron's game, and there's definitely no Jordan in his game either. You can miss me with that he wears the same number crap too, because that doesn't matter. LeBron's game is not like those other two. In fact, one guy who I think would know Jordan's game better than just about anybody, you may know him. He wore the number 30 basketball court.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that. Greatest one-on-one open floor wing basketball defender I've ever witnessed. He even said that you can't compare LeBron's game to Jordan's game because it was totally different. And he's exactly right. It is different.
Mm-hmm.
So why is it that you all have this endless need, why do you all have this incessant need to compare this guy who has no resemblance of his game whatsoever to be like the great Kobe Bryant and the great Michael Jordan. Both guys who are legends. And we can definitely say they both are. And we definitely can say one is a Hall of Famer and one will be one.
Mm-hmm.
And when I mean will be one, I mean in, 3-4 months? So
yep.
It's lofty that you try to compare this guy to those two. And then, yeah, you can throw any and all of those stats. He scored more points than Jordan in a career. Wonderful. He has scored more points than Kobe. Wonderful. He may even score more points than Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Wonderful. That's great. And I even encountered another Bronxexual who incorrectly said once LeBron passes Kareem, LeBron will be the greatest scorer of all time.
Whoa.
No, sir.
Time out. Halt. He says, hold the phone.
Yes.
Stop. Penalty flag on the field.
Yes.
Wait.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I must invoke Al Michaels.
He did what?
He said,
yes.
What?
So, LeBron passed Kareem, and he becomes the scorer ever. What would you say then? And I had to promptly correct him, just like right now I'm promptly correcting you, Bronxexual. Kareem, as great as he is, and if anyone were to debate me as to anybody else other than Jordan could be the greatest player of all time, number 33 for the Lakers and 33 for the Bucks would be the guy.
Captain Skyhook.
And I would not pitch a fit whatsoever.
Captain Skyhook.
However, I love Kareem, but even he would tell you he's not the greatest scorer of all time. He's the most prolific scorer of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But the greatest? No. That would fall under two people's hands. One would be Jordan, the one you endlessly say that LeBron is better than. And the other would be Wilt Chamberlain. And you know why those two? Because those two are the only ones in NBA history, we're talking 73 years, Bronxexual, that in a career averaged over 30 points a game. Those are great scorers. Not LeBron. Impressive? Yeah. But averaging 26 to 27 points a game doesn't make you the greatest scorer of all time. No. So, to review, your man has lost 4 more finals combined than the 2 other guys that you have compared him against. Your guy has only won 3, and if I were to even say that he would win a championship this year, it would be 4. And that still would be short of the other 2 men individually. And you have your facts inverted. Flip that chart, son. MJ is greater than Kobe, is greater than LeBron. How about that, sir? For facts. Cole Johnson, Cole Sports with a Z, along with Snowman in the Morning and SnowmanDigitalMedia.com.
And I add this to the Bronxexual who continues to send me that message. Courtesy of one Stephen A., he said it best, and it sounds like this.
The truth shall make you free.
Oh, my. Oh, good Lord.
I mean, I'm so glad you told me that term, because these Bronxexuals just, A, don't get it, and B, they don't give up.
No, they're relentless. They're relentless.
They don't
And
they don't give up. It just makes me laugh. It made me laugh when I saw the message and I knew I was going to bring you on the program. I said, you know what? I have to. I know I gave my take, but I knew it wasn't going to be enough. Okay, I had to have you for this. And while we're on the subject of the NBA, of the NBA, and we're going to work a little Ice Cube into this later on in this conversation. While we're on the subject of the NBA, and I've had people at work this morning, and we're a week beyond the All-Star game or the All-Star Blues that took place in Chicago, which, while I'm playing sounds, which made me say,
That's all I can stand. I can't stand no more.
and I couldn't stand to watch that debacle. In my hometown, why was the fourth quarter 15 full game minutes? Why couldn't they just clip it at 12 minutes like every other quarter? Someone pointed out to me, well, you didn't pay attention because they kept the running score on the top of the screen. They usually have it in the main score bug, you idiot.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both have talked about, and I love the artist Common. I love him to pieces. Okay, he's from Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I love how he introduced the players, but the stage was not necessary.
You talk as though you are, what's the word? Extremely perturbed and aggravated that the NBA has taken this turn toward more of an entertainment product for All-Star Weekend.
The stage was not necessary.
Well, I mean, there's many things that were not necessary, and I mean, look.
If I can work Stephen A. into the conversation again, since 2005, there have been some elements added to not just the All-Star game, but the NBA that had me go,
No!
and I look again and I go,
No, 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 no!
and after last Sunday, I repeated,
No, 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 no!
and they want to attribute this to the growth of the NBA. They want to attribute this to the growth of what?
Well, I mean, anything to draw eyeballs to the product. I mean, isn't that what they're supposed to do?
To say I'm perturbed about the way the NBA has gone would be a horrible understatement.
I get that they sniff that they have the opportunity to become the number one sports league in North America. I get that.
Absolutely.
I fully get that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm saying they're trying to do a couple of things that the NFL did in route for them to become the sports league that people focus on.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
It's just, good Lord, the misses. Like, all right, look, I know you love him. I love him too. Damian Lillard,
Yes.
my man, is awesome.
Love Damian.
He is awesome.
Yes.
But why would you have him perform if you have not really looked at his stage presence? So you have this elaborate stage, you have him on the stage, and he performs
Yep.
like an amateur hip hop artist.
Yep.
And he has skills as a rapper, but his stage
It's-
presence was not all that great. And that's not an insult toward him. That's
No,
just
it's-
facts.
It's no insult whatsoever. While I'm working sounds into this, and I haven't played with my new sound base for a while, but Damian Lillard is a basketball player. I understand
Yeah, really good.
and a damn good one. I understand they want to work him into the entertainment side, but when I saw that that thing that you want to call a performance, my next 3 words were as follows.
Oh, hell no!
And that describes it. That describes to me the huge miss this whole weekend is.
A
And I'm
big
thinking,
old miss.
I mean, and they tried to do so many different things. Like, since we're mentioning Lillard, want to take advantage of Lillard and the fact that you have him and Stephon Curry, who now make it an art form to shoot 35 to 40-foot 3-pointers.
Yep.
And now in the 3-point competition, they have two spots where you can shoot. I think it's like at least a 35-foot 3-pointer.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny that all of these inventions that they're doing, and even in that competition, it just simply it was okay, but it was not necessary. It was like,
Don't
okay, it's
fit.
It's cool. Yeah, it's cool, but it's like in the way. So, and that's sort of the feeling I have. It's like, yeah, that's cool, but it's in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Slammed on competition. I got so many gripes about that competition. One, why is it that you all fail to get starters to do that competition?
Yes.
2, what did you all do to chase away the legends who used to vote on these dunks? Because remember, you used to have Dominique and Dr. J vote on these dunks. Now you have, and look, I look, Scottie Pippen is legit.
Yes.
But you have Chadwick Boseman. You have Black Panther voting on this.
I have the perfect sound. I have the perfect sound for that. You ready? I've been wanting to debut this for a while. I have the perfect sound for that, and we were joking about this sound at work. But to Chadwick Boseman judging the slam dunk contest, my only response is this.
Bruh.
And then you have the moment of the whole weekend.
Mm-hmm.
You can rave about the game all you want the next night. You had the moment of the weekend. You had an NBA player scale over a 7'5" guy.
Yes.
And you could have sent the whole crowd home happy. You could have said, you could have had everybody say, you know what? There was an NBA player who won a slam dunk competition. He jumped over a guy over 7 foot to win it.
Yep.
That just writes itself. What do? You vote that dunk 1 point less.
1 point short.
Than 1 point short of a dunk that we've seen often. A guy who tried to run and do a free throw line to hold dunk.
Mm-hmm.
But, and I said this on this program before, I'll say it again. The dunk was okay. I wasn't bad. Okay, it was good. It wasn't great. And if you're going to compare it to the 2 best who did it, which would be Jordan and Julius Erving,
yes,
it just didn't rate. So, I huge. The biggest miss of the weekend was that.
for the
biggest
dunks
miss
that
of the
came
weekend
from
was
that came from the free throw line last Saturday.
Yeah.
And by the way, my question is,
Did you not get the memo?
Julius Erving did it before, Michael Jordan did it after, and they both perfected it.
Yep. Both did. Yes, sir.
They both perfected it. In fact, I've said on this program many times over, as big of a Michael Jordan fan as I am, the first favorite player that did it for me was Dr. J, was Julius Erving.
Mm-hmm.
That would be, in my fandom, the only one I would put over Michael Jordan, because Julius Erving got me hooked on NBA basketball first. Then, of course, I saw Magic Johnson. Then I saw Captain Skyhook. Then I saw.
Yep.
Okay, I'm gonna really. I've told you many times before, and Dr. K is gonna have to forgive me, and I know she's gonna give me the finger point here in a moment. As she turns the dials for this program. We come home every morning. She just has this. She just looks at me while we're coming home, and she just goes, "What are you gonna do this time?" Okay, I'm gonna apologize to my beautiful Dr. K in advance by saying,
Dun, 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 dun.
yes, da, 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 da. And she loves giving me that sound too. In fact, she just did it in my ear. She just did it in my ear and went dun, 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 dun. By saying, I love pissing people off. When I do this program, and I can't repeat what she just said, and she's in the booth laughing. She's cracking up laughing. I can't repeat what she said, but I love pissing people off. You want to know the most underrated? You're gonna love this.
Yes. Why do you love pissing people off?
Because I have said this gentleman's name as an underrated forward who was a Hall of Famer. And I said he's 100,000 times better than LBJ. You know where I'm going. That name is James Worthy. Big game James. Absolutely.
The guy's so underrated that the presence of two then future legends, they're legends now, of course.
Yep.
But then future legends, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson, outshone Worthy in terms of coverage.
Oh yeah.
Yet, in Worthy's prime, who was the leading scorer of that team?
James Worthy.
So.
And by the way,
tell you the greatness of that guy.
And by the way, Bron Sexual, you want to point to the fact that LeBron sealed a Game 7 with a triple-double? How about this fact? June 16th, 1988, James Worthy did it first.
Yeah, he did.
James Worthy was the first to do it. James Worthy, if I had to put two favorite forwards before Scottie Pippen, James Worthy is one, Julius Erving's the other. Then Scottie Pippen showed up in 1988.
And you get zero arguments out of me. Because those are you just named my three favorite small forwards right there.
Scottie Pippen, James Worthy, and Julius Erving.
Those are my favorite small forwards of all time. You just named them.
Yep. No argument here. No argument here. I loved watching Julius. Oh, by the way, Bron Sexual, while we're taking shots here and going back to my statement that I love making people angry, Julius Erving had something in his latter years that LeBron hasn't had in any of his years. A jump shot.
No, wait a minute. Now he exhibited a jump shot. I mean, there was a game. What was it, last week? Yeah, no. Yeah, last week before the All-Star break, they were in Denver. The game was tight. I think 114. No, 111. I'm sorry, 111 apiece. And so, LeBron is feeling his Jordan. He's at midcourt. He directs traffic. He wants a pick.
Of course.
So he can get a switch on the guy that was on him. So he gets to pick the defender switch off, so he gets what he says is a favorable matchup for him. He dribbles about two steps in. He does a fadeaway. I have no idea, but he shoots an 18-foot fadeaway, clank off the rim. Buzzer sounds. We go into overtime.
We go to overtime.
Oh yeah, you're right. He doesn't have a jump shot. Yeah, I just don't get why he, with the framing he has and the skills he has too, why is it that he has not worked so hard on that? He has to have had the opportunity to build one shot to where it didn't involve him having to penetrate in the lane, because he had to save himself of that, because he couldn't do that. And he still is streaky. 35 and he's still streaky with his jump shot.
17 years.
It's either extremely wet or it's a desert. I don't get it.
17 years. 17 seasons, folks. And no damn jump shot. I mean, his jump shot is so bad. You want a legendary shooter? I'm going to put a legendary shooter and LeBron James in the same sentence, but not for the reason that you folks think. His jump shot at times can be so dry, so pixelated, and so off course. Not even the legendary Reggie Miller would be proud. Because at least Reggie Miller can hit a jump shot. At least Reggie Miller can catch fire. At least Reggie Miller, I don't know, actually knows how to put a jump shot together.
Reggie Miller on his worst day is 2 times the jump shot artist that LeBron James is. I mean,
Man,
please.
Reggie Miller on his worst day, and of course, my Dr. K has a big old grin on her face. Reggie Miller on his worst day, which would involve an illness and a stomach ache and a headache, can drop 35 with his eyes closed faster than LeBron can.
Look, I get why people want to say that LeBron is great, because he has these different skills. I get it.
Yes,
I get
absolutely. It. Absolutely understood that. I never said that he isn't a fantastic athlete. I will never say anything to the contrary of that. I will never say he's not a great philanthropist off the floor.
He's that too.
What I have said for the almost 7 years I've been on air doing this show, I judge him for what he does on the floor. And I compare that to what I've been spoiled by for some 25 years. And folks, he ain't it.
No. And I, this is what gets my goat. This is what frustrates me more than anything. They tout the fact that he has gone to 8 straight finals. It almost invites another Stephen A. Smith soundbite when he says, "What do you want to give him, a cookie?" I mean, 8 straight finals. Fine, good. And they throw this in your face as like it's a badge of honor. Jordan didn't do that.
Jordan didn't have to. Jordan didn't want to just go to the final of the World Championship Series. He wanted to win.
And not only did he want to win, that's what he ultimately wanted to do. Yeah, not only did he want to win, he also wanted to let everybody know he was the best player on the court while winning it.
Yeah.
So
he wanted to let people know I was the best player on the planet. And he did.
And he didn't have to say it, bronzexual.
Exactly.
See, all of this is what really frustrates me. It's like, okay, well, LeBron is great because he He went to 8 straight finals. That's something LeBron never did. That's something only the great Celtics of the late 50s to mid 60s did. Okay, fine. I'll give you an applause for that.
Yes.
Wonderful. But you know the one thing that those late 50s to mid 60s Celtics did in those 8 finals? They won all of them.
They won. They won.
LeBron was 3-5. So LeBron in that 8-year stretch was 3-5. So I don't get it. I just don't get it.
Nor do I.
And that's supposed to be the stamp of greatness, that we see him every June. Okay, cool. Do we see him raise the Larry O'Brien Trophy every June? No.
Oh, no.
And then of course I can add this. Now now LeBron has more MVPs than Kobe did. Kobe only won it once, and we all know why he only won it one time.
Yep.
LeBron won it 4 times. Jordan has won it 5. So
Abdul-Jabbar's won it 6 times.
And Abdul-Jabbar won it 6. He didn't win it as many times as Bill Russell because he too won it 5 times.
Yep.
So you can't give me that either.
Nope.
So
nope.
It's just
nope.
It's just lunacy, man. It's absolute lunacy.
The legendary Irvin Magic Johnson said it best. Michael's the greatest player. Russell's the greatest winner. No argument here. No
argument here either.
No argument here. And while we're talking about how the NBA has whiffed on quite a few things, and I know I'm going to get on some people's nerves with this question. Well, before we
please do
get that, folks, I've said LeBron's never had a jump shot. Someone challenged me some time back that Julius Erving never had a jump shot. Courtesy of CBS. Courtesy of CBS, I give you this.
With 10, with Magic guarding him. Irving outside, hits a big one. A big basket, and a 111.
Yeah, you hear that, Net.
You know, there is this wonderful invention that we didn't have when we were growing up, but these youngins have it now. It starts with a Y, ends with an E. Oh, yeah, YouTube.
Yes.
Which is part of the Google machine. You can actually go there, type up Julius Erving or Dr. J, and you'll see the full range of game he had.
Mm-hmm.
Get out of here. Miss me with that. Do your research before you just pop off at the mouth.
Miss me with
Come
that.
on.
I've told people you got to do your research, and people just don't. They don't. Like he didn't have a jump shot. Listen again to the sound of the Nets.
Julius with 10, with Magic guarding him. Irving outside, hits a big one. A big basket, and a 111-108 Philadelphia lead.
Oh, by the way, Bronzexual, that occurred in the Forum. That occurred on the road. The date was May 31st, 1983. And oh, by the way, I didn't say the best part.
Deal.
I didn't say, yeah.
That sealed the deal.
Yep, you beat me to it. I didn't mention the best part. That sealed a world championship. And it wasn't a Game 7 either.
Nope, Game 4.
It was Game 4.
Game 4 against the Showtime Lakers. Now, you know that's impressive if a team can say they swept a Showtime Lakers team.
Yeah.
That's impressive.
That is. Boston's had the most experience against the Lakers from the grinded out 60s to the Showtime 80s. Mm-hmm. But Julius Erving's jump shot sealed a world championship on the Lakers floor in the Forum. Now, to the same Bronzexuals, and I know you run into a few, that said Michael Jordan is less than LeBron. The same Bronzexual you've addressed and I've addressed, and I know he won't listen, who said LeBron's greater than Kobe is greater than MJ. Number one, miss me with that. Kobe's got more titles. Number two, 1998, folks. In Salt Lake. In Salt Lake. You want a jump shot to seal a title? I know LeBron did one in 2013, but you know who was doing it well before? I wonder I wonder who this fella is.
Yeah, he wore red that day.
For the Bulls.
Yeah, his head was
10
bald.
seconds.
Here you go.
Yeah, he got a steal too before that shot.
Oh,
yeah.
he did. He chopped.
All right, it's win or lose. Game 6 for the Bulls. 10 seconds.
Yeah, y'all know what happened. Y'all know what happened. The pose, the stick.
Gosh.
NBA World
And
Champion.
I just saw that too. Mm-hmm.
And I think I have it. Yeah. Two greats when I grew up watching and listening to basketball. Michael Jordan playing, Jim Durham announcing. Listen carefully.
Mm-hmm.
All right, it's win or lose. Game 6 for the Bulls. 10 seconds. And with it, of course, the championship. Jordan, 20-footer, head of the key. Good! Chicago by 1. And the Utah Jazz take time.
Yeah, take that.
So I got to hear Jim Durham's call on that because I've heard the Bob Costas call almost all the time with that one. Okay.
Yeah.
That's something I got to hear.
This was Jim Durham for ESPN Radio. Now, speaking of gigantic whiffs that the NBA has had over the years, I've never been afraid to say it on this program. You haven't been afraid to say it on this program with me.
Mm-hmm.
I must ask this question again, and I know all the factors involved, and I know all the bureaucratic blankety blank you got to be shaving me kind of stuff that went on. But can we please bring back the Seattle Supersonics? Please.
You know, I never got why David Stern didn't fight so hard in keeping that team there.
He was in bed with Clay. He was in bed of business with Clay Bennett.
I mean, if he was the self-professed fan before commissioner, as he has said that he was,
which he wasn't,
you know, then he would have done more to protect that team moving.
Mm-hmm.
He'd done a lot more. Fact that he didn't, and the fact he didn't was extremely alarming to me.
He was making money hand over fist. He could have easily dipped into his pocket and said, "Hey, Seattle, here you go."
That team does not belong in Oklahoma City, and I'm not trying to crap on Oklahoma City. The fan base is awesome.
The fan base, yes. The fan base is awesome. The fan base is awesome.
Yeah. But that team does not belong
in Oklahoma City.
It does not belong wearing thunder blue, navy blue, yellow, and orange red. It doesn't belong wearing that. It should be white, green, and yellow.
In Seattle.
And they should be playing in the Pacific Northwest in the Seattle-Tacoma area. That's where that team belongs. It's belonged there since 1968. It belongs there now. And the fact that it is not there is a crime.
It's a travesty. It's an absolute travesty that Seattle does not have an NBA team. I got nothing against Orlando coming in. They came in 1988. Same with Charlotte, and I'm not far from Charlotte. I understand that. But you always had the Seattle Supersonics.
Yeah, you did. I mean, and this is what's so messed up now. I mean, you know, one of my favorite songs was Ice Cube. It was a good day.
Mm-hmm.
Third verse. He had a line where he said, "The Lakers beat the Supersonics." Now, of course, now you know that people know that Cube is a huge Lakers fan, so it didn't surprise me he said it in the lyric. But the team he chose
was Seattle.
You know he chose it out of respect. Yeah, you know he chose it out of respect.
Because that was a big rivalry. That was always a big rivalry.
It was a huge rivalry. Yeah.
That
Huge
was-
rivalry.
That was a big rivalry. So yeah,
it's just no, man. And what makes it even funnier and more humorous is, the division where the Thunder is now, the Northwest Division. The division that has the Nuggets, the Jazz, and the Blazers in it.
There is your karma. Right there. There is your karma.
That tells you right there that team does not belong in Oklahoma City. I mean, come on.
There is your karma. That's about all I need to say. Speaking of karma, the NBA is about to get some, and it ain't going to be good because they stole an idea from said legendary artist and Ice Cube, who put the Big Three League together. They play to a score. I find it ironic, sir, that they played to a score in this recent All-Star game, and these newfangled millennial NBA fans are digging it. And it was
they ate it up with a spoon.
Yeah. They ate it up with a spoon and dribbled all over the remains.
Mm-hmm.
They ate it up with...
Look, I get why they made the change.
Right.
So the game that we saw, and mind you, Snowman fans, when I had a conversation with Brian, I think it was a couple of years back, where I mentioned to him, in the All-Star game, they select who they play on
Yep.
each side.
Yep.
And he said, "What? They do what? You mean to tell me the game is not East versus West anymore?" I said, "Yep, the game is not that anymore. You got one team captain versus another, and it's like a glorified pickup game."
Mm-hmm.
So I get why they need to have that tweak, because they saw 3 years of this glorified pickup game where it was like, okay, these guys don't even have an interest in playing defense. So I get it.
Yeah.
Give them a little more incentive to play defense. I get it. Although in that game, until the fourth quarter, they didn't play any defense there either. But
Case rested.
right.
And
so I get the concept.
And my
so
additional,
you fight for every quarter. You win every quarter. You're
right,
supposed to have
exactly.
that, and I get it. But they still didn't play any defense the first three. Still didn't.
Nope.
Sorry.
Nope. My additional thought is the following.
It just don't add up!
How do you explain that?
So even though people are saying that was a great game, the end was not so bad. I'll admit that.
Mm-hmm.
The end was not so bad.
The end was okay.
Yeah,
big
it was
time,
okay.
However.
Now, I would say the end would have been better if they didn't end with a free throw, but the end was okay. I got it. However,
it was everything before that moment where they could have
ruined it for me.
It did.
Yeah. And the things that they did to make it interesting, I like. Donating to charity, which team wins that quarter.
Yes.
I like that.
I like that idea. I do like that idea.
That's a wonderful idea.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Out of all the inventions, the newfangled inventions for the All-Star Weekend, that's the one I do like. Mm-hmm. That's the one I will definitely co-sign on.
Yes.
And you can still do that with a running score.
Mm-hmm.
So
absolutely, you can do that. If that was the only change they would have made, I would have taken a look. Let me be real. Maybe I would have taken a look. If you put money on the line for your favorite charity at the end of each quarter, yeah, you'll get my attention. I can deal with that. The problem? They reset the score after every damn quarter.
3 tip-offs. Does a game, unless it goes into overtime, need to have 3 tip-offs?
I believe I can answer that. I believe I can answer that like this.
No, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
So, cut to the fourth quarter, and when I saw they're playing to a point. Oh, the moment I saw that, I said, they're biting hard off a big three.
Oh yeah,
that was the very first thing I thought. They're biting hard off the big three.
Mm-hmm.
And so it made me proud that Cube said, it's great that the NBA is doing this, but give credit where it's due.
And they won't.
And he's right. And they won't.
He's absolutely
and he's right.
He's absolutely right. Should give credit where it's due. Should give credit where it's due. Ice Cube came up with that. And the NBA, being the thieves that they are, will not give credit where it's due. And I hope there is a ton of karma that comes their way for that. Because that's not right. It's not right.
So, people could say this was a win. And look, Chicago knows how to pull on events.
Yes.
So I had no issue with how your hometown was going to put on the event. I knew
none.
They were going to do a first-class event.
Yep.
That was not even an issue for me, and I was right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Everything was first class. This is Chicago. They know how to do it upright. So I had no issue with that. But what the NBA put forth, for the possible exception of the Rising Stars game and doing charity after each quarter.
Yep.
Huge misses, man. Huge misses. I don't even recognize the weekend anymore. I don't recognize the weekend. When you and I were children, man, when we were in grammar school and junior high school, and we actually would look forward
to the All-Star Weekend.
You remember we would look forward to All-Star Weekend?
Yes.
You remember that? We would look forward to it.
Well, I would be talking with every one of my friends, and we're talking about who should be in the All-Star game, who shouldn't be in the All-Star game. You look forward to that. You absolutely, when we were growing up, would look forward to the All-Star game. You want to see your favorite players in it because, as you've said on this program quite effectively, it's an all-star game.
Yeah. It's an all-star game. So, and I will say this until I'm blue in the face and until the NBA corrects this. All-star game. Why is it that you have non-all-stars participating in the weekend?
Mm-hmm.
Then you might as well scratch all-star off of it and just say
the weekend break. You may as well just say the weekend break.
Yeah. NBA weekend break or NBA family reunion. One or the other, one of these two names would fit.
Because it's not an all-star weekend. It's not all-star
No.
weekend. It is not all-star weekend. And I totally agree with you. Chicago knows how to put on events, especially sporting events. I had no issue or no worry. But letting the NBA take over All-Star Weekend, man, it's a gigantic whiff.
Yeah.
It's a gigantic whiff.
It was a whiff.
Yeah. And now, I know we're going to get pushback for this, but I don't care. I'm saying bring it. I'm absolutely saying bring it. Because what I saw for All-Star Weekend was bogus. Flat out bogus. It is not the same thing and hasn't been for a while. You can miss me. You can miss me. I'll borrow from you. You can miss me with, oh, this was a great time. This was a great game. It was a great idea to have them play to a point total. Sorry, Ice Cube beat you to it. You can miss me with, it was a great dunk contest. Aside of Aaron Gordon, who the hell are these people? You can miss me with, it was a great three-point contest. Aside of Devin Booker, who the hell are these people? I repeat my comment. And unless Larry Bird is going to suit up, unless Magic Johnson's going to suit up, or we're going to see MJ take off from the free throw line, I don't want to see it again. I will not watch again. And on top of that, if you look at the decoration of the floor, I understand you want to honor the city of Chicago with its famous, world-famous skyline.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But they only put Chicago All-Star 2020 on each of the baselines. Back in the day when it was the All-Star game, they would make the floor and they would honor the team that hosted it.
Mm-hmm.
They
would, sir.
They have not since 2005. And it's absolutely bogus. It's bogus.
And here's where people can miss me too. If you all going to say, well, this is get off my old man take. Two things. Yeah, and that's one. And two, just look at the product. Yeah. And then you look at the product before, like you said, 2005. Just look at the product. It doesn't resemble anything all-star unless you're talking about the game, and even the game itself is not all that great.
It really isn't.
I mean, I don't even have to go. I don't even have to go back to when we were children.
No.
One of the greatest all-star games. I know you'll remember this too. 2001.
Yes.
That's one of the greatest all-star games. The West were up, and I think they were up double digits, and the East had the pride to say, "Oh no,
you ain't getting us.
No, we're not going to fold the tent. You ain't going to come out here with a W." And led by Allen Iverson, they marched back and they won the game
in the final seconds.
That's what I want to see in the final seconds. That's what I want to see in an all-star game. Guys who I love to see, who are the best of the best, have pride in saying, "You know what? I'm representing this team, and I'm going to come out with a W." And I know I'm on this floor, one of the 10 best that's doing it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I want to see in all-star games and all-star weekends. Instead, we see events such as when there's a breakaway dunk that's about to happen, and it's a 4-on-1. Instead of the defender actually trying to defend the ground, he lays down because he doesn't want to be posterized. That's what we see.
And
that was recent.
Horrible.
That's not
horrible to me.
That is not the all-star game I want to see.
I want to hear this kind of introduction too. I want to hear this kind of introduction. Again, as I get this queued up, and I think this is a perfect way to end it. 1988, Chicago Stadium. Again, I love Common and the way he introduced the players. But can we just get some old school like this? Can we get an introduction like that where 18,204 people are yelling their lungs out for their local star? And a travesty that Zach LaVine was not elected to the All-Star game for the Chicago Bulls. There was not one representative of the Chicago Bulls, and Zach LaVine was deserving of an All-Star bid. He did not get it. An absolute travesty.
Yeah. Oh, and one more gripe that I have about All-Star Weekend. This league has been in existence 73 years.
Mm-hmm.
You know that we have to tip our caps to those who have been playing today.
Yes.
Where was the event that tipped their caps to the All-Stars and the legends of yesteryear? What event was there?
There wasn't.
Name me thank you. Name me the event that paid homage to the players of the past, the legends of the past, the all-stars of the past. Where was that? You pay
Nowhere to be found.
attention to the future. You pay attention to the present. The past was nowhere to be recognized.
See that?
For the exception.
That was the biggest thing that took it away from me. That was the biggest thing that took it away from me. You don't see the old timers game anymore, which was one of the highlights of the weekend.
Game was one of the highlights for me too. Yeah,
it was one of the highlights of the weekend, and you don't see it anymore. And I don't like it. I don't like that.
I don't like it
because now you're teaching these young fans that there is no homage to the legends anymore. None.
Yeah. Of all the things that we've talked about, that leaves the saltiest taste in my mouth.
Mm-hmm.
That right there. About All-Star Weekend.
Yeah. That's the saltiest taste in my mouth also. One of the saltiest tastes about the NBA that's in my mouth currently. It's called the NBA Finals and not the NBA World Championship Series.
No championship series.
The first round is 7 games and not 5.
Well, and then they butchered it too. Because you remember when it was the best of 5.
Yes.
They did not stretch that out to 2 weeks.
No.
But for some reason, they decided to stretch the first round out for 2 weeks to justify, well, the first round doesn't need to be best of 5. Why don't it be the best of 7 too? Like
2003 is when everything changed for my love of the NBA. 2003 is when they instituted the 7-game series in the first round. 2003 is when LeBron James showed up. Nothing against the athlete, but everything against the basketball player I don't like. 2005, the All-Star game changed for me. They took away the homage to the legends that preceded the current stars.
And how are you going to learn who are the greats if you don't showcase who they are?
You're really not.
How is that possible?
You're really not. You really not. I understand the game being global. I understand you have to somewhat adhere to the modern times.
You do.
And I understand that. But I miss the Seattle Center Coliseum. I miss Reunion Arena. I miss the Fabulous Forum. Not the Great Western Forum, but the Fabulous Forum.
Fabulous Forum.
This is for you.
Because the Great Western Forum still exists.
Yep. This is for you. I miss the Summit.
You? Dude. Man, when they called the Compact Center,
I know your ears were fuming.
If you would have seen my ears fume, you would have felt a heart drop. I'm like, man. And even to this day, because the building's still standing.
Yes.
I don't look at that building.
You can't.
As well, now it's the Lakewood Church. But I don't look at that building as the Compact Center. That's what they named it.
It's the Summit.
I always looked at it as the Summit. Always did. I still do now.
It's the Summit.
Man.
It's not the Compact Center. It's the Summit. It's a Chicago Stadium for me.
I miss that stadium. I miss that arena a lot.
The Spectrum in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
The Boston Garden, where no one wanted to play and you had a fear of playing there. Where's the fear in playing in arenas now, man?
Yeah. Even the greatest of teams feared playing there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
the buildings had legends to it.
Yes.
Boston Garden is one example. People saying, "Oh, well, they must have turned off the heat, the AC to the building in the business locker room." That type of thing. The fact that you're missing that type of character with the buildings, the people, and the past. It's like the league has turned antiseptic.
Yeah,
and it's just this clean. I'm not saying that the fact that it's it's geared toward family. It's always been geared toward family.
Yes,
but it's this clean image of we are modern, we are today, and we have the state of the art buildings. All 30 of them. I'm sorry, all 29 of them. Because I forget the Clippers and the Lakers playing the same building. All 29 of them, state-of-the-art arenas. I'm like, I'm with you.
How about
man,
McNichols Arena?
I miss those sort of things.
How about McNichols Arena in Denver?
See, I miss that. I miss the Salt Palace.
The Memorial Coliseum in Portland, Oregon. As you mentioned, the Salt Palace. The Mecca in Milwaukee.
The Mecca. Where not only the building was interesting, but the floor was too.
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. A psychedelic floor.
I mean, the Capitol Center.
Landover,
I went
Maryland.
to that building. I went to that building. I mean, that's.
I have three words for you and for my beautiful Dr. K. Market Square Arena.
and poor Indy. They try to replicate it with Banker's Life. They tried so hard.
Market Square Arena.
Very few arenas were louder than that one. Very few.
Very few.
Very few.
How? You know what? We talked about how much the Oklahoma City Thunder needs to move back and be the Seattle Supersonics again.
Mm-hmm.
The Nets need to move back to New Jersey.
New Jersey?
Because what the hell have they done since they've been in Brooklyn? Have they won a championship? No. Have they gotten out of the first round since they've been in Brooklyn? No.
I think not.
Have they gotten close to a conference final since they've been in Brooklyn? No.
That's a definite no.
Are they even close now to being championship contenders? No.
With Kyrie being injured now for the rest of the year? No.
I mean, what was the point? What was the point? Just go back to being the New Jersey Nets. At least you actually can establish an identity. You're trying to be the second team in New York, and it ain't working.
You know what's even worse about this? At present, they still are the better in terms of product. They're still the better team in New York, but they really don't matter.
No,
that is how bad it is.
They don't.
They are the better team in the New York general vicinity.
Yep.
And still the bigger ticket in the New York City metropolitan area is the Knicks.
Mm-hmm.
Still.
Mm-hmm.
And when I saw the move, you already know why. When I saw them move, I'm like, okay, fine. So they got Jay-Z on board, and he is this Brooklyn messiah, so to speak, and he wanted to have basketball in Brooklyn, and so he wanted to have Brooklyn stand up and be back in prominence, and they figure, okay, well, we don't have the Brooklyn Dodgers, well, we can now have the Brooklyn Nets. Okay, well, you've had them for a few years, and you have the wonderful Barclays Center, where the arena's fine. People in Brooklyn still are hating you all for putting that arena in the middle of the borough.
Middle of the borough. In the middle of the borough.
Might as well go. I'm with you. They might as well go back to East Rutherford, New Jersey. I mean, what's the point?
You had a deal inside the Prudential Center. Why'd you leave?
they thought they were going to make more money being the Brooklyn Nets. They really did, and they wanted to feel that they could challenge to being a New York team, and they should have studied how it is for the New York Jets and the New York Mets.
Yep.
And you'd see how the Jets are second fiddle in the NFL to the Giants, and the Mets are definitely second fiddle in MLB to the Yankees.
And you're seeing how the New York Islanders are second fiddle to the New York Rangers. And by the way, the Rangers
almost a third fiddle to the New Jersey Devils.
To the New Jersey Devils.
I mean, it's just. I really would have wished that the Nets had really studied a little harder than they did.
It was a rushed move.
Yeah.
It was a rushed move because Jay-Z and the Russian put their money on the table, and
Prokhorov,
Governor Christie had to act fast, and he didn't.
Yeah.
And he didn't. How about the Veterans Coliseum in Phoenix, Arizona?
Oh, man.
How about that?
When I always loved whenever the Rockets played in Phoenix, and I would look on the court, and I'm like, why is it that they wrote the full name of the arena on the court? But I loved it.
It was the identity.
And then when they, of course, they moved to America West Arena, I was like, the arena's nice. It's cool. It's
not the Madhouse on McDowell.
Right. It seems to have no personality. The arena that I remember did, and I loved it. And I actually loved the Suns for it. It was like, oh, it's kind of cool. It's different.
The logo at the center of the court, the sunburst. They're slowly trying to get back to that, and it ain't working.
Yeah, and they've been trying to do that for 15 years.
15 years, and it ain't working. If they haven't figured it out, they are not working. And I just got a wide eye from my executive producer. I've ran past the break. So you know what I have to do. Cole Johnson joining me here to talk some old school NBA. Bring it back, y'all. Will it please? I love you, my brother. Thanks for the time.
Yeah, I love you too, man. And whenever you want to chop it up, please do.
Done. Absolutely done. Okay, I'm going to get yelled at, so I better take a break. Back in a flash. All right, folks, he's back. This is Errol Marks, the man in charge of Below the Mic and a couple of other shows on the Worldwide Sports Radio Network. How are you, my friend?
I'm good, man. I'm back again. I feel so loved today.
As well you should be. Let's dive right in. The floor is yours for the Astros cheating scandal. I want to hear your thoughts on how Rob Manfred dropped the ball on this one.
You know, it's interesting because I thought Rob Manfred is one of the best commissioners in professional sports until this particular situation. You look at the Astros as a whole, as an organization. They have been a good team for the last 4 years. Just imagine how many years they've been cheating. This has not been going on 1 year in 2017. This has been going on since 2016. And the same Astros team and the same GM that complained about the St. Louis Cardinals, that had the St. Louis Cardinals GM or vice president of player personnel fired and arrested for stealing things on his computer is absolutely appalling, because when you look at the Astros as an organization, you would think class. You know what I mean? When you think of the Astros, you think of Altuve, Correa, Springer. You talk about a classy organization until you heard that. And then you look at the background of this team and this whole buildup of what happened over the last couple of years. And listening to Mike Trout explains everything. And even Giancarlo Stanton the other day getting interviewed about this whole situation, he said that if I knew a pitch was coming, I would hit 80 home runs a year. 80 home runs.
Yeah.
So you know the advantage of a player, especially a hitter of that magnitude, of an Altuve or a Springer or a Correa or whoever's at, or arguably one of the best third basemen in baseball in Bregman. And my thought to this whole situation, and I'm not talking as a Yankee fan, and a lot of people are going to say, well, you're a Yankee fan, that's why you're going to say this. I speak as an analyst, and analytically, to me, when you look at this whole story, this is even worse than the whole Pete Rose situation.
Mm-hmm.
And you talk about Bud Selig, and Bud Selig was the guy that would not let Pete Rose back in baseball. But they have his baseball bat. They have his jersey. They have the baseball. They have even the base that he stole that gave him his, gave him that, I forget what it was, in the All-Star game when he hit the catcher and knocked the catcher out.
Yeah.
They got all his stuff in the Hall of Fame. But they don't
not
have
him.
his plaque and him. Yes, exactly. But you have Bregman, who is arguably one of the best third basemen in baseball, who was up for MVP last year, who is not suspended. They're not touching these guys.
No.
They're not touching any player on the Astros. None. And that, to me, is the most appalling thing, because I really think when you think of an organization, you talk about Goodell with the CTE and all the things that he was trying to hide all these years.
Right.
Not paying the players, not helping them with their benefits, and all that other stuff. This is even worse than that. Because, and I know everybody's going to say, well, how could you say that? It's CTE. These guys are getting brain damage. Here's the thing. Baseball is what? America's pastime, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you look at football, and in the last 15, 20 years, football has been the number one sport in professional sports here in America.
Yep.
And then you look at baseball, how quick and how grown some of these young athletes, when we talk about Mike Trout, Aaron Judge, Bregman, you have now
Yordany
Garrett
Alvarez.
Cole. Yes, Alvarez, and all these guys we talk about, all these great superstars, and how baseball has transitioned from the strike in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
And then you see Bud Selig. Everybody wanted Bud Selig out because he was a terrible commissioner. He's the one who allowed. He's the one who allowed steroids, and then he took shots at really burying Alex Rodriguez and Manny Ramirez and David Ortiz and all these other guys, all these superstars,
right,
because they were doing steroids. Meanwhile, he knew all along that they were doing steroids.
Mm-hmm.
But he didn't want to take responsibility. And now you have guys like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, arguably two of the best players at their position in history, sitting, looking out from the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Because it's steroids. All right? To me, it's appalling when Rob Manfred goes up there and he speaks about baseball and fans, that they should not say anything, that he did the right thing, and he thinks that he's doing the right thing for baseball, and he's helping the integrity of the game. How are you helping the
hell is he
integrity
doing
of the
that?
game? I don't understand what he's trying to say. And you want to know something? It's funny because the players now, remember, baseball, the CBA is going to be up in a year.
Yeah.
The CBA is up in a year. And what is going to happen in a year from now? What's going to happen now is the players are going to look at this whole big picture with the whole Astros scandal and say, could we trust this commissioner? Could we trust the owners of the league and agree to terms with them, knowing that they agree with Rob Manfred, or they're letting Rob Manfred get away with this? Who pays the commissioner?
The owners do.
Who pays the commissioner? The owners do. And the fact that the owners are sitting back and letting the commissioner of baseball say, well, I'm just trying to help the integrity of the game. I did what was right. I fired the coaches. I'm the one who fired the GM. Well, he didn't fire, but he's the one who suspended the GM.
Mm-hmm.
He suspended the coach. And then he comes back And he says, well, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do to the players? How could we suspend the players? What could we do? Here's what you could do. You can, and I said this on your last show.
Yes.
I would take their 5 best players and sit them out for 30 or 40 games.
Mm-hmm.
And what does it do? What does that do? It puts them in the same hole the other teams were when they were cheating. Okay?
Yes.
They've been cheating for years. How many times, how many teams, how many seasons did they screw out teams from making the playoffs? Just think about it.
Yeah.
How many teams were screwed out of the playoffs because of the Houston Astros? And that to me is the most devastating thing as a player, and I'm not even a major league player. If I were to sit back right now, and I'm not even talking about Aaron Judge being screwed out of an MVP because he was. Altuve should not have. Right now, Altuve and the MVP should be going to Aaron Judge. They should strip the MVP from Altuve and give it to Aaron Judge because he should have won the MVP that year.
I'll give you that.
And to me, stripping a trophy from the Houston Astros is not going to solve anything.
Right.
It's not. It's not. What they need to do, what the Major League needs to do, is they need to set a precedent on this. And how do they do that? What I would do is I would force the owner to sell his team. That's what I would do. Because the
NBA did it with the Clippers. I exactly see your point. The NBA did it with the Clippers and the whole Donald Sterling incident.
So did the MLB with the Dodgers.
Yes.
So if they did it to those teams,
why can't they do it to the Astros?
How about what they did to George Steinbrenner when he was caught doing what he did in the 70s? What did they do? He had to stay away from baseball for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't be a part of the organization for 2 years. This is worse than that.
Because the integrity of baseball, the integrity of Major League Baseball has taken a slap in the face and the kick in the balls. Let's just be real.
Absolutely.
It's taken it. Let's just be real. And this is coming from a pure, unadulterated baseball fan. This is the first sport I love. Major League Baseball, several times over since I've been a fan, has taken multiple slaps in the face. But this time, with this cheating scandal, not only is it a slap in the face, but it's a kick in the nuts.
I agree with you. And you want to know something? When you talk about Justin Verlander winning the Cy Young last year, and how about Garrett Cole being the runner-up?
Right.
The third runner-up? You're talking about guys that knew about this.
Yeah.
They knew about this. So they should strip every single award that the Houston Astros have won in the last 4 seasons. Strip it all.
Cy Youngs, MVPs.
You cannot take a trophy away from a team that won a championship even though they cheated. So that's the only thing I would leave with them.
Yeah.
But put an asterisk on it.
Mm-hmm.
Put an asterisk on the year that they won the championship.
They want to put an asterisk to Barry Bonds. They want to put an asterisk to Barry Bonds. They want to put an asterisk to who am I thinking of? Roger Clemens. They want to put asterisks to players, but they don't do it to teams. Why?
Mm-hmm.
This is the perfect time and example for them to do it to a team.
I agree with you, and to me, it's not only hurting the integrity of the game; it's hurting these young fans. When you look at the way sports is growing right now worldwide with the NBA and the NFL, and even the NHL right now is growing astronomically right now as far as numbers are concerned. So, and then you look at baseball, and baseball was the second leading sport in America. Now you have to look at it as a young fan. Do I even want to watch the sport if Rob Manfred is not even going to put the hammer down on the Astros,
on the team that cheated, on a team that cheated, and the evidence has come out and shows that they cheated. I like your punishment idea. Take the top 4 or 5 players away for 40 games and see how and see how they do. Okay? I like that suspension idea. To a lot of people, it would think they would level it would level the playing field, but at the same time, I'd do it for a year. You want to talk about a level playing? You want to talk about a level playing field? Take a couple of them away for a year. Take a couple more away for the next year. Yeah, they've stripped away. They've taken $5 million away from them. They've taken draft picks away from them. But at the same time, the Astros can make a move to acquire some draft picks. I don't think they're going to be that good this year, but I have been wrong before, and I have a feeling I'll be wrong again when it comes to certain teams. And we're going to talk about certain teams, coming down the line as we head toward the 2020 baseball season. Here's an argument that I've heard, and you and I spoke about the last time I had you on with me. What about people saying, well, the cheating must not have meant much because the Washington Nationals beat them, and they beat them in their house? I'm going to add that piece. Let me get your thoughts on that.
Well, it's pretty simple. Pitching wins championships.
Mm-hmm.
You know why? You know why the Nationals beat the Houston Astros?
They had the best pitching staff.
No matter what they knew was coming at them, their pitchers are that dominant that they couldn't hit them anyway. So it wouldn't have even mattered. To me, baseball is a pitching sport.
Yes.
If you have the best pitching staff, you have the best chance of winning, especially in the playoffs.
Right.
When you narrow down the talent. And when you look at the whole picture right now with the Nationals, the Nationals just to me it's the most impressive championship any of the teams have won this year was the Nationals, because the Nationals were not expected to win.
They were not expected to get in the. They were not even expected to get in the playoffs, even with Strasburg, even with Scherzer, even with Patrick Corbin, Daniel Hudson, their closer, who was a dominant closer, by the way. They weren't even expected to get in the playoffs. They basically backed their way into the playoffs, and they had to get an eighth-inning single from Juan Soto that cleared the bases, plus an error on Milwaukee, to get them into a position where they can compete for a World Series, and that's getting to the Division Series. But what people don't realize, since Game 5 of that Division Series, when the Dodger offense was shut down and Howie Kendrick rescued the Nationals with a grand slam in the 10th inning, the most dominant pitching staff didn't belong to Houston. It belonged to Washington.
And you know what? When you look at the World Series and you watch the Nationals hoist the championship and just really the excitement of the Washington Nationals, because this is an organization that never won a championship, never won a title, and they were talking about firing their manager early in the season because they were playing crap baseball.
Yeah, they were 19. They were 19-31, and they were calling for Dave Martinez's head. Now he took that and used it as motivation. #finish the fight. And I love Dave Martinez's comments. I have a clip of it somewhere. I'll play it later in the show. I love when Dave Martinez said on Houston's field, we stayed in the I put the quote in front of it. Quote, we stayed in the fight. We won the fight. Close quote. And they sure did. And that pitching staff got him there.
And they didn't cheat either.
No.
And that to me is the most impressive thing out of all of it. They didn't do anything. They didn't cheat. They were cheated on. Let me tell you that. They were cheated on, and even with them cheating, they still couldn't beat the Nationals.
And they lost 4 times. This is the funny part about the Houston Astros. They lost 4 times to Washington, wait for it, in their own house.
And to me, what we have seen and what we and that's the greatest part of all. They were cheating in their house and only in their house, and they barely lost in the playoffs at home. The Astros.
Yeah.
Until they played the Nationals.
Absolutely.
And to me, that was the most impressive thing. And everybody says, well, if the Nationals could do it, why couldn't the Yankees do it? Why couldn't the Dodgers do it? Well,
they didn't have the pitching. They didn't have the pitching. I said this a couple weeks ago on the show. They did I'm so sick of Dodgers fans saying, well, we should have won. We should have won. You got your ass kicked in your house by Washington because they had something you haven't had for years. It's called pitching.
You're right. And to me, when you look at the whole big picture with the Houston Astros, it's really despicable. And I'm sorry. This is just as bad as the steroid scandal.
Yep.
This is just as bad as betting on baseball.
Yep.
Because you're cheating on baseball. You're not betting. Pete Rose didn't bet against his team. He bet for his team to beat the other team.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he wasn't planning to lose that game.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So they cheated on baseball. They cheated many different teams, not just the teams that were in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
They cheated teams that didn't make the playoffs.
Right.
Because how do we know what the Astros' record could have been if they didn't cheat?
Right.
They've been cheating the whole season. We don't know what their record could have been. We don't know if they would have even made the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So
they probably would have finished. They probably would have finished behind the Oakland A's, who were fast, who were coming on strong to
absolutely
try to take that top spot in the American League West. Who knows how many wins? And you just made a great point, and I love that. Who knows if the Astros would have won 107 games if they didn't cheat?
They wouldn't have.
Who knows how many games they would have won? I should have phrased it that way. I apologize. Who knows how many games they would have won?
I'm willing to even bet you that this year Altuve's batting average is going to go down at least 0.20%. I bet you Bregman's numbers are going to go down. The only person that I think his numbers will stay the same as George Springer.
Springer.
He is the only one that I think, no matter what happens, his numbers will still stay almost identical to what they were last year.
And
the
I'm
year
willing
before,
to bet Correa's numbers are going to fall below the Mendoza line. I'm willing to make that bet because since 2015 against the Royals, when he kicked that double play ball that should have finished the 8th inning against the Royals in the division series and given Houston that series win. I don't count 2017 now, knowing what I know. Correa's been awful. He's been flat out awful.
Terrible. Absolutely terrible. Horrendous. When they were talking about him being the next A-Rod. To me, when he was drafted, everybody, this is a guy that was, the number one pick in the draft?
Yes.
And everybody was saying that this guy was going to be the next big superstar at the shortstop position. Him and Altuve are going to dominate the middle infield in baseball for the next 10 years. And to me, I would put an asterisk on Altuve's numbers, Bregman's numbers, and Correa's numbers. And to me, I just think it's a complete joke that when we talk about, everybody talks about the Yankees being the evil empire.
Yes.
And the Red Sox being what they are. They bought their championship. How about cheating?
Yeah. How about
championship?
stealing more than signs and cheating to win your championship?
To me, you could buy your championship. You spend the money. There are teams out there now. Baseball, it's all about a luxury tax, and if you go over the luxury tax, you got to pay the league. And the league takes that luxury tax money and they give it to the teams that don't have the money that the Yankees, the Red Sox, the Dodgers have. But now you
can put the Cubs in that conversation also when we talk about luxury tax, because since 2016 the Cubs have had to fork over a luxury tax, which takes their chances to get young players that can help keep their supposed dynasty going. And I got a lot more to say about that, and some Cub fans are not going to like it. I'll do that later. But put the Cubs in that conversation also.
Yes, the Cubs are another organization that is a team that has done, in the last couple of years, has done the right thing. They really have.
Yeah.
They're building their team around youth. That's what the Yankees started doing. That's what the Chicago White Sox are doing.
Yes.
The A's have been doing that once, So and I love what the A's are all about. You know why I love the A's? Because no matter who the A's put on the mound, who they put at first base, second base, third base, outfield,
they play hard. They play hard.
They play hard.
I just wonder, had they caught the Astros, this would be an entirely. I really believe, had the A's gotten into the postseason Or had the A's survived their wild card game this past year? I beg your pardon. They lost to Tampa Bay. Had the A's survived the wild card game and somehow gotten by Houston, this conversation would not even be had, in my opinion. And Mike Fiers would have kept his mouth shut. And Mike Fiers was on that Astros team in 2017. He knew what was going on for the past couple of years, which brings this question to mind, and here's where we'll close until next time. Why did he take so long to say something?
It's a good question. And here's the thing. How long has baseball known about this?
Right.
That's the question. You know? So I think baseball has known this for years, and they haven't done anything because no harm, no foul. That's the way they look at it.
And to a point, with Manfred dropping the ball, they still haven't done anything.
I agree with you. To me, it's a joke right now. Rob Manfred should be ashamed of himself because he's got an outcry of players. Your best player, Mike Trout, coming out and saying what he said about baseball. LeBron James speaking up about baseball right now, that he's got to do something. There are other players, other sports speaking up for what the Astros did.
And Manfred's not going to do a thing. Come on, let's be real. Manfred's not going to do a thing. And I will tell you a theory that one of my good buddies, Cole Johnson, a friend of the show, and I'm going to have him on a little later. Here's my theory, and here's his theory, and a couple of others have expressed this to me as well. You know why they're not going to suspend any of the players? 2 reasons. 1, it'll hurt the players' bottom line, and 2, in Manfred's mind, not mine, but Manfred's mind, it'll hurt baseball's bottom line if we don't see them suspended. And it's to a point now where there's an over-under of how many Astros players are going to get beamed this year. As an astute baseball mind like you, I know you caught that.
Oh, I know. And I'll tell you this. By the way, I want to apologize to the fans. I'm in a car wash. But I am an Errol in the car wash. The E-Train in the car wash.
The E-Train in the car wash. Gotta love it.
But I will tell you this. What to me, and what I've read, and the stories that I've read behind what Rob Manfred has said at these press conferences, it wasn't just one press conference. It was 2 of them.
Yes.
He didn't say this once. He said this twice. And to me, when you have Brian Cashman coming out and sticking up for the players and the players' union, to me, that's saying a lot about not only the Yankees, but it's saying a lot about the league.
Mm-hmm.
That now the league's standing forward. They're standing against the Astros. And to me, not only are they going to be beat, they're going to be booed on every single field that they walk on. And to me, I don't care what the players say. I don't care what the Astros say. I don't care what the players that are not even playing in the major leagues right now, like LeBron James is saying. To me, this is a disgrace to professional sport because these players are making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars, and to cheat the fans and really cheat the younger athlete that is trying to get into professional sports in AAA and AA, it's appalling. It's an absolute appalling situation. Do you know how much AAA players are making?
Not as much as major league. Not as much as bench players are making it in majors. Not as much as them.
Right now, if you do the investigation on it, the average professional AAA player is making no more than $40,000. $40,000 a year. These are guys that might never step foot on a Major League Baseball field for their career. And then they have these guys that are all talented in the world trying to find ways to cheat, to be better, to win awards, to be better than the better teams in the league. When everybody compares the Astros to the Yankees and the Red Sox, and I'll tell you this right now, the Red Sox cheated too. They cheated too.
Yeah, they did.
And it's going to come out even more because I believe that the stories are going to come out even more in the next couple of months. The next couple of months that the Red Sox were cheating as well.
And the Red Sox are going to get zapped just as hard, if not harder. And think about this, and we're coming up on a break here. Think about this, and I'll leave you with this thought. Think about this. The Red Sox are going to get zapped. They're going to get zapped harder, and this is coming right up on the 2020 Major League Baseball season. And if you want to throw it back to Rob Manfred, he's getting a big fat curveball to smack out of the yard. My question is, will he take it, or will he swing for the downs with the Red Sox?
I think in the long run, the way baseball is pushing this and the way the fans are pushing this, I think eventually Commissioner Manfred is probably going to step down for as the commissioner of the league.
Yeah.
Because this is now tallying not only through Major League Baseball. This is tallying through all the professional
leagues.
You have soccer players from overseas talking about this. You have NFL players talking about this. NBA players talking about it. Heck, even NHL players talking about this right now. And to me, if Manfred isn't going to do anything about it, well, guess what? The fans will. The fans will. So to me, you can write all the stories you want, and Manfred could say whatever he wants that he thinks is going to help solidify what he is saying about the Houston Astros. Here's my answer. Here's my question, and I'm going to leave you on this to Rob Manfred. If the ball was changed, if the roles were changed, and you were the owner of the Houston Astros, okay? How about this? If you were the owner of the New York Yankees, would you allow the commissioner to sit back and say what he has said on national TV and completely bring down the growth of the sport of Major League Baseball? That's my question to Rob Manfred. If he was the owner of the New York Yankees right now, and he knew that he got cheated, how about the LA Dodgers? He knew that their organization got cheated from a championship because the commissioner didn't step forward and do the right thing and figure out the right way of handling this. Would you be happy as an owner of an organization knowing that your team got screwed?
No.
That's my question to Rob Manfred.
I know I wouldn't be happy. That's the E-Train. Errol Marks joining me here to talk Astros scandal. And now we return you to your regularly scheduled baseball season, and I'm going to have this man on. We're going to do some predictions. We're going to look at all the teams, and I will say right now, and not because I'm a native Southsider, watch the Chicago White Sox this season. We'll get into that in a couple of weeks' time. Thanks a lot, my friend. Appreciate it.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you on that one.
Watch the Southsiders, baby. Watch the Southsiders. These young kids can play.
They've got 3 young players right now that are going to be superstars in the league. 3.
And one is coming back. And one is coming back from Tommy John surgery. Thanks a lot, my friend. Appreciate it.